Okay, so we got breaking news. Breaking news. So the murderer of Orsolya Gaal was found. Thank goodness. Okay, so the Queen's mother, 51, who was stabbed almost 60 times, placed into a duffel bag and left on the side of the road in Forest Hills, New York. He was found, okay, and actually arrested. So his name happens to be David Bonola. Okay, so here we go. So a suspect is under arrest in the brutal murder of Queen's mother, Orsolya Gaal. I'm going to call her Orsi for the video because it's hard to pronounce her name. Police said the 51-year-old mother of two was stabbed nearly 60 times and suffered blunt force trauma last week in Forest Hills. Her body was found stuffed inside a duffel bag not far from her home. Sources tell CBS 2 her boyfriend, 44-year-old David Bonola, has been arrested on murder and other charges. Okay, all right, this is good news. Let's check out some more. Now, this may not be the person, so if it isn't, I am going to erase it. But there is somebody in Queens with that name. Now, he is from Richmond Hill, Queens, New York, which is actually very close to Forest Hills. This person with the same name shows up as somebody who lives in the Queens area. Don't know how many David Bonolas there are, but this is possibly, I'm going to actually edit it out if it's not him. But I'm not going to really scroll down very much because, I don't want to actually accuse anybody who didn't do something of doing something, if you know what I mean. Okay, so suspect in custody in connection with the slain mom dumped in duffel bag. A suspect is in custody in connection with the death of Orsolya Gaal, the New York mother found stabbed to death in the duffel bag. He was arrested before 1 a.m. Thursday, according to the NYPD. Bonola had known Gaal from doing work on her house and knew where to find the key, police sources said. He allegedly stabbed her to death while her 13-year-old son was upstairs, according to sources. Gaal was found in the duffel bag in Queens on Saturday morning. The 51-year-old was stabbed dozens of times, according to police sources. Wow. Unbelievable. The medical examiner's office said she died from sharp force injuries to the neck. A trail of blood from the duffel bag led to Gaal's Queens home, police said. Bonola turned himself in Wednesday night after officers canvassed his Queens neighborhood, according to police sources. He was charged with murder, criminal tampering, and criminal possession of a weapon, according to the NYPD. This is a developing story. Please check back for more updates. I always look at comments because I'm an armchair idiot. You're always curious what other people have to say about that. And where are the oh, here we go. Stabbed dozens of times. That is a lot of rage. Who is the suspect? Apparently, she had an argument with the handyman. You mean her handyman? Oh, people are real a-holes. Let's see. I have been checking for updates in the New York Post and wondering why they haven't caught anyone yet. I was sure it was the son. Glad to hear it wasn't. Oh boy, she was having an affair with their handyman and they got into an argument. Being stabbed so many times, I wonder how her son, who was home, did not hear anything. Oh my God, can you imagine being home while your mother was being stabbed 60 times and you never heard a thing where you could try to help her? Poor child. Yeah, that's true, honest to God. I mean, can you imagine what that kid is going through? I mean, when my mother died, my mother died of lung cancer. She wasn't murdered. The grief 1 year later, I can hardly even deal with the grief still 1 year later, just from a natural cause. Well, I mean, cancer is really not a natural cause. It's caused by a bad lifestyle, but I mean, it's horrendous. I mean, and the fact that somebody's mother was stabbed close to 60 times in the house while he was home, if he heard something, he may have been able to help her. I mean, can you imagine grief on top of that trauma? That is absolutely horrible. So basically, he made a full confession. Someone wrote, I read that he lived nearby. That's why no car. They believe he was planning to bring the body to his home to hide it, but for the blood trail he was leaving behind, he left it where he did. Well, I told you this guy had shit for brains, didn't I? In my last video, I said this guy absolutely was not given a high IQ when he was born, when they were handing him out. They gave him like the lowest of the low. Okay, so shit for brains, threw his boots, his bloodied boots after the murder, into her garbage can next to her garage. Completely, was an absolute dipshit. Okay, he drags a bag. There's a trail of blood leading from the house all the way to the dump site. Really, this guy, I knew his day was coming. You know what I mean? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that this dipshit was going to get caught quickly. That's why there was really not too much news about it going on, if you know what I mean. The police were probably keeping hush about it, because they were zoning in on him. Now they had to build a case and build a good case against him before they can pounce on him, if you know what I mean. So yeah, this guy, wow. All right, let's check out, is there any more news? Let's go into the past hour and let's see if there's any more news. Let's see, 24 minutes ago, and this is News 7 New York, and let's see if we get any more info. There's really not going to be much info yet. We're not going to find out much until later on. This is a developing story, even though he was arrested at about 1 a.m. last night. All right, so here we go. David Bonola, 44, arrived at the 112 precinct. And by the way, I know that precinct very well. I know people that work there and family members that used to work there as well. That precinct has a very, very awesome homicide squad and detective squad. One of New York's finest. Okay, so here we go. David Bonola, 44, arrived at the 112 precinct, where he was interviewed in connection with the death of 51-year-old Orsolya Gaal and then taken into custody. He's now facing charges of murder, criminal tampering, and possession of a weapon. Detectives made the decision to pick him up and were in his neighborhood at about 11:30 p.m. Wednesday when he walked up to the officers and said, "I hear you are looking for me." Yeah, because this dipshit knew he wasn't going to get away with this for much longer. Obviously, he had absolutely no plan, or he was, like I said, an absolute, excuse my French, I'm a New Yorker, we tell it like it is, an absolute utter idiot. Moron, pretty much a troglodyte. Okay, so here we go. This troglodyte basically gave himself up because he knew his days were numbered. He apparently proceeded to make a full confession. Bonola had known Gaal from doing work on her house, and he knew where to find the key, allegedly enabling him to stab her to death while her 13-year-old son was upstairs, unaware of what was happening to his mother. Police are still looking into the extent of the relationship between Gaal and Bonola. On Wednesday, the NYPD's investigation led them to a bar that may have been the place where she was last seen alive. Tavern owners in Forest Hills are telling investigators that Gaal was a familiar face. I told you that in my other video. Most, New Yorkers, they stop at the local watering hole. They have a drink or two or three and go home. And a lot of people were saying, oh, something's going on. She was waiting for somebody. Hey, she may have been waiting for him to show up. Who knows? Okay, she often met friends for drinks in Forest Hills. In fact, on the night of the murder, she was drinking alone at that Forest Hills pub, a bar adjacent right to the train station. Now, she went to a concert, apparently, we don't know, allegedly, that evening. And so probably when she got back and off the train station, she probably wanted to have a drink or two. That's what regular people do, right? Same thing every time, one Moscow Mule. So that's her drink of choice. She was a nice lady. Let's see what else we got here. She was here alone. Okay, so she was there alone. And she left alone. I wonder what his story is. So when she returned to her home, she would have been beaten and stabbed to death. Sorry about that. and then dragged through the neighborhood in a large duffel bag. Jeez Louise. Sorry about that. Leaving a trail of blood for blocks before being abandoned alongside. And here we go again. And here we go. Sorry. Oh, Lord. All right. Yeah. So this jackass, like I said in an earlier video, left like a trail of breadcrumbs, like Hansel and Gretel, with the blood-soaked bag, and an absolute and utter idiot. So a surveillance image is said to be crucial to the case. It shows a man believed to be the killer dragging the bag just before daybreak. Sources tell Eyewitness News that Gaal had contact with at least 3 men that night. Now that means absolutely nothing. A lot of these media sources, they like to, you know what I mean? They like to make things spicy. There's a lot of people, like a lot of women that talk to men, and just because they have a guy friend or 2 or 3 doesn't mean they're having an affair. I don't know what's going on in this situation. Maybe she was having an affair. It's none of my business, but what the hell do I know? I'm just some schmuck sitting here reading this stuff. Okay, and one of the guys she was talking to is Bonola. Gaal's husband was out of town with the eldest son, and their youngest son was in the upstairs bedroom. There were reward posters now up in the neighborhood for $3,500, leading to the arrest. I was telling you guys, $3,500 is jack shit. $3,500 is chump change. In most of these high-profile cases, usually the rewards start out at 50 grand, 100 grand. Trust me, for them to put such a low reward, they knew who this guy was, and that was just basically, you know what I mean, to not, like, I guess, set off this guy into thinking that nobody knew, who the guy was, like to make it look like they're looking for somebody, but so this guy doesn't bolt. Obviously this guy, and here we go again. Sorry about that. It's 10 a.m. It's the witching hour. That's when you get all the YouTubers putting new videos on and sending notifications. All right, let's see what else we got here. Breaking news. It's always developing. Let me just hit the refresh. We got in the past hour. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah. We're really not going to know much right now. We're going to find out a lot of interesting information as the hours, go on. Let's check out CBS. And yeah, David Bonola charged with murder, criminal tampering, and criminal possession of a weapon. It was a crime of passion, the police sources say. Okay, so on Saturday, the police... here we go again. On Saturday, police responded to a 911 call and found the body of Gaal in a duffel bag in the blood trail that led to her residence. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. The bartender saw her up until about 12:30. She went home alone. She had her Moscow Mule drink. Let's see. Any more info? No. We're not going to get info right now. It's basically, we're not going to get anything. It's just... what's basically just coming out, even though they knew about this since about 1 a.m. Yeah, the most recent is 20 minutes ago. Let's see, 42 minutes ago. This is pretty much breaking. Let's just go into here a second. I really don't like to go into UK news sources, except for Daily Mail is actually a really good news source. I notice they're very thorough. So a suspect has been arrested. Okay, we know that. He was taken into custody. Yep, nothing new here. Nothing new. Yeah. Let's see. The man charged with Orsolya Gaal's murder was a handyman who did odd jobs at the home. 1010 Wins reported. David Bonola, 44. And here we go again. Jeez Louise. David Bonola, 44, was arrested just before 1 a.m. He's being held at the 112 precinct. That's on, actually, I believe it's on Austin Street, and it's not too far from her house. And by Austin Street, and I think Yellowstone Boulevard, by Queens Boulevard. That's where the 112 is. Okay, citing Law enforcement sources, they report that Mr. Bonola may have lived in the basement. Okay, this is new information. He may have lived in the basement of Miss Gale's family home in Forest Hills for a period. Detectives are looking into whether the pair had a okay, so now, some of these other media outlets over here are saying that she had a romantic relationship. They were lovers. Now this one's saying detectives are looking into whether the pair had a romantic relationship. So who knows? Maybe he was infatuated with her and she wanted nothing to do with this creep. And he got pissed off. He probably was stalking her. He was, I'm just speculating. Like I said, I'm an armchair schmuck over here. And I'm speculating that he probably had the hots for her. She's a nice looking woman. And she probably didn't want to, give him the time of the day. She probably thought he was a creep, a weirdo. And it pissed him off. Some guys can't handle it when some woman, doesn't want to give him the time of the day. I call them simps. You know what I mean? Like, like those type of guys. They can't get a chick. You know what I mean? I know this sounds like really bad. I'm sorry. I'm just kicking it to you straight over here. And it probably pissed him off. She probably didn't want nothing to do with him. And he probably went into a rage. He's probably trying to contact her. She was putting him on the ignore list. I don't know. This is my speculation. If it's that guy from Facebook, I'm going to tell you now, I wouldn't have given him the time of the day either. He looks weird. He looks like Dee Snider had a baby with Howard Stern. Okay, let's just put it that way. From the picture I saw on Facebook. Now, I'm not trying to be a snot, because, I'm not a Miss America over here, but he doesn't look like some guy that, like, a woman like her would go after, unless she likes the weird, sort of like, emo goth type of guys. I don't know. Who the hell knows? This is just, like I said, some stupid schmuck sitting here just commentating. Okay, so he was charged with murder, blah blah blah. Okay, further details are expected to be released at a press conference at 11:30 a.m. I might come back. We might watch that press conference. I don't know. There's not too much interest in my channel, so I might not bother. Because why bother, right? You put effort in and people don't give a crap anyway, but what could you do, All right, let's see. What do we got here? Blood-soaked boots found at the murdered New York City mother, Orsolya Gaal, led police to kill her. The boots led to the killer. Detectives had charged him with the murder. Let's see, charged with criminal tampering, blah, blah, blah. We heard that already. A police source told the New York Post that a pair of blood-soaked boots recovered from a trash can. Like I said, this guy shit for brains. Absolute and utter shit for brains. Recovered from the trash can outside the property led them to make an arrest. Mr. Bonola has no prior criminal history. Really? Oh, that's really interesting. No prior criminal history. So even if they had DNA on this dude, they wouldn't have really been able to find him in a database. So they really, okay, so by him giving himself up, wow, okay, they would have been on a wild goose chase. Interesting. They did not believe it was a premeditated killing. A medical examiner found Ms. Gaal had been stabbed nearly 60 times. Police are expected to release more information at a press conference. Okay, so maybe we'll check that out. If you guys have any interest in it, I'll post it. Write it in the comments below, or at least give me some thumbs up so I know you're interested. Otherwise, I'm just not going to bother with this. Honestly, there's other true crime channels out there. They're all going to be covering this today. You probably don't give a rat's ass about my channel, and I don't blame you. I'm just, like I said, some armchair schmuck over here living in New York that's interested in this case. Okay, detectives running DNA tests on blood-stained footwear found in trash can, blood-soaked boots, and found in the trash can outside the garage at the home. And again, shit for brains did that. What an idiot. And okay. All right, I guess that's it, unless we see any other information here that I hadn't heard before. And by the way, if I sound pretty congested and hoarse, I have a bad cold. Excuse my terrible sounding voice. Mr. Bonola turned up at her home. Okay, wait, maybe more info here. Okay, so it says, he turned up at her home late on Friday night and the pair had an argument. Okay, interesting. An argument. Yeah, because she probably didn't like him. You know, she probably wasn't into him. Again, he looked like if Howard Stern mated with Dee Snider. Yeah. Not too many women are into that. Let's see what else. Unless, I don't know, maybe they are. Okay, 11:30 a.m. press conference. Let's see what else. I'm trying to see. Yeah, what a bastard, too. Texting the family like that, taunting them. This guy's a sick bastard. He's a real sick bastard, telling the husband your family's next. I mean, what a real absolute and utter piece. Excuse my language. I'm going to just kick it to you real. What an absolute and utter piece of shit. This guy. If I'm telling you right now, if New York State had the death penalty, they should fry his ass. Fry his ass in the chair. But, of course, you know, nobody wants to have the death penalty anymore. Very interesting. Okay. All right, that's it. I'm done right now. I'm going to probably come back for a press conference at 11:30. I might not. I might. But again, show me some interest. You know, give me some thumbs ups. Write some comments. Let me know you're interested, and I'll do something. You know, I'll come back. We'll talk about this. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of news later that we could go over. There's going to be a heck of a lot more information. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm glad this bastard and this shit for brains dummy was caught. And it's actually a good thing he's off the streets. And, you know, I mean, there's 50 million other wackos and weirdos and absolute savages in New York. Trust me, I live there. So this isn't going to be the first or last scum that probably hurt somebody. But all right, guys, see you later. And again, show me some interest if you like this content, and I'll continue it.